Good morning, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant, episode number 170. The date is the 2nd of February, 2026, and that can mean one of only one things. Tax return is behind us. 31st of January has been and gone. Hello, welcome to Ask the Accountant, part of the Ask the Accountant Network, a podcast network for accountants and bookkeepers, supported by our amazing Patreon community. Speaking of which, we start each and every show with a shout out to our coolest of cool listeners, who are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chat. I think I've got one day left until I lose that title and have to give up my number one spot. Paul Whitehouse, Kirsty St. John, Mahul, and Millie. If you'd like to join it as a cool listener and become one of those shout outs on that list, then go and visit our Patreon page found via the links below for bonus content and an opportunity to be on that coveted list. Mr. Johann Gory, we see changes behind you. There are changes to the. I mean, what happened to what happened to carefully taking the unicorns off and rationing it off? But how's it going? How's your week been? How's it going? And why do we see changes behind you? Go for
it. Yeah, so the week was all right in the end. We didn't have too big a rush. I mean, I did the number crunching over the weekend. So I've had Friday night and Saturday I was covering Engager support. So we committed to 10 p.m. on Friday, 8 a.m. till midnight on Saturday. So I had plenty of time to sit and do little projects and crunch some numbers and stuff. And the bit that blew me away was December to January 24-25. My team prepared and filed 165 tax returns. This January to December, we did 45.
Oh,
but
wow.
We did the same number of tax returns in each year. So automated emails, tax questionnaires worked an absolute treat for us. Thank you to Engager product. That spent quite a bit of time reflecting in between support tickets. What can we do better? What we're going to improve and stuff. And we've got quite a bit we're doing. I've put together a basics of marketing to accountants and bookkeepers guide. So there'll be a free guide coming from Engager in the coming weeks. A productive couple of days, shall we say. Obviously filed some tax returns for clients that were signing them off. And then I did a bit of DIY on Sunday. So that was the easy part, the top part. The bottom part, I've got to cut out plug sockets and stuff for. So I thought, you know what? My walls aren't tall enough for two panels height. So not only have I got to cut out plug sockets, I've got to cut the next line down in size. So yeah, I did the easy part to start with. And I've preserved the wallpaper behind it for future prosperity. And I couldn't be asked to strip the wall first, so I thought, I'll just screw it on top. It'd be fine.
So you did screw it then? That was going to be my...
Yeah, it's all screwed on. It's not glued. So, I can take it off and the majority of the wallpaper will be in pristine condition. But A, doesn't it look good? And B, it's soundproofing, so it stops the echoes and stuff. Not that there really were any in here, but I'd convinced myself that I needed some echo proofing, sound dampening wall material because it looks good. So, I'm excited to be getting on with that after quite a long time of hanging around and not doing it. Apparently, there was other priorities around the house that wasn't my office. But yeah, Aaron, how was your week? How was your weekend?
Well, I wrote it, and we haven't messaged each other. We haven't said anything. There's no kind of prior thing. But I was putting exactly the same paddling up at the new office on Sunday. So I travelled up, did a little extra day there. I mean, saying I put it up was probably the wrong phrase of term. I assisted. I was part of the journey. I was a labourer during which someone else was putting it up. My brother-in-law putting it up there. It was I feel for you really, because it was a an interesting experiment to put it up, and we chose not to use glue as well, which I don't think is the right word in hindsight. I think actually just glue it up and forget about it is probably the best way for something like that, because having to screw each and every one in, and and the way we went around doing it as well, because some of it was plasterboard that we were going over. We had to screw it in, then unscrew it to find the guide holes, then take it up the panel off to then put those those
Draw plugs.
yeah. And then we had to then line it back up again to put it was an ordeal, put it that way. But yeah, so ironically, we've got exactly the same panel as that. So yeah, but the week of final week of doing the tax returns was how it's expected to be, right? Like it is what it is. It doesn't get any better. I would say though, and I don't know if you saw this on social media, we had our what's the most PC way of saying this? We had some vocal minority
Opinionated people.
bringing up just unnecessary posts. So anyone who didn't see it, there was a post from a couple of people, but one in particular definitely got my attention, explaining how you can do better as a client by not having an accountant who leaves it till the last minute and has January, and also having to go at accountants who leave it till the last minute, till the 31st January, to do tax returns and put it through from there, and how you could do better and go to Disneyland. Now, fair play, going to Disneyland during January, very good on them. Like that's a very well-oiled machine, and fair play to them for being able to do that. But you're not telling me there wasn't a crunch mode at some point to get to that position, right? Like all you're doing is you're bringing that forward, surely. Like I don't understand how either you've not got, you're not working at your full capacity, or you've pushed that crunch forward. You've created a different deadline for your clients. Is my, maybe right, maybe wrong, but that's my opinion on the matter.
Plus,
but yes,
I think it's being very unsympathetic to people's personal circumstances. Like I had a client that sent it all to me on Friday because she finally managed to get her daughter to help her do it, because she's been undergoing treatment for mouth cancer for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's knocked her out. Like, why would I turn around to someone like that and say, sorry, you've missed, sorry, I'm off on holiday, not my problem. Like, you support your clients. Yes, would I love them all to get them in earlier? Of course I would. Do we have measures in place to incentivize them? Yeah. On the 5th of April, we send out the questionnaires and we chase them every month automatically. And we have a tiered charging system. So the earlier you get it in, the cheaper it is. But if someone is prepared to pay nearly double the price in January compared to April, or has circumstances that are going on, then fine. But I also saw posts on the other side saying, so you didn't work too hard in January. Tells me your marketing funnel's rubbish and you're not getting new clients coming into you last minute like we are. So we this is our bonus period. This is where we get the extra work in and we secure them for future years.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think ultimately it's your business. You run your business how you want, and stop giving other people grief for letting them run their businesses how they want.
And I feel that's the sticking point, isn't it? It's when people have to put an opinion out there that belittles others. Like in this day and age, in this world,
especially when they see themselves as the minority, that's when they particularly like to, like, the 5 a.m. club. They love to give us all grief for not getting up at 5 a.m. It's like, your life, you run it how you want, but don't cast aspersions on others for running their lives how they want.
Yeah, or when I get up at 5 a.m, I don't post on social media. Do you know why? Because I actually get on with the day. And actually,
there's a reason
I'm getting up at 5 a.m. It's not so I can post on social media. It's because I've got stuff to do. But it's that whole thing, right? We're all in it together, and it just puts a sour thing into your mouth, doesn't it? Like, why do you have to attack others for doing it? And the industry needs to change, and I think MTD is going to help that, and it's going to be positive spin. And like you said, there's ways we can incentive, we can do better. But somebody got to remember why we're doing this in the first place. And I feel like this time, was it last week or week before, where I was telling my stories about my woes, and I've got clients who are doing this, and rightly so. I got criticism for well, I should change, and it's down to me, right? And that's fair point. But you've also got to remember, like, why are you doing this in the first place? And for me, I've always wanted to do this to lower the barrier of entry for accountants and bookkeepers, because I feel like we do so much for our clients. Like, we support them in so many ways. And if you shut your door in January, that's definitely the opposite of lowering the barrier of entry, isn't it? It's like, nah, not going to help you anymore. Go through from there. But hey, what can we do? Wow, look at all the comments we came in. First of all, we had Kirsty St. John saying, good morning, everybody. And we wouldn't be anywhere without our amazing community. So thank you so much for coming up each and every morning and saying hello. Shovel says, good morning, everyone. Hope got all of their self-assessments completed and had Sunday off. Well, no, me and Johan decided to DIY instead.
To be fair, though, I did find time on Sunday to build half of the C3PO Lego model that I got gifted on Saturday by the wife for completing another tax season.
Nice.
It's like my annual present is a Lego model. So halfway through the C3PO model, which I'm looking forward to finishing off and putting it on the shelf of models.
Finding space for it, isn't it? That's going to be your biggest problem.
Yeah.
Fine. For it. Paul White says morning and yay, it's February. Yeah, we were talking just off air on this one. Now it's time to tackle that February list.
All that February. That's a February problem.
Yeah.
I've got a meeting today with both my Engager team and then my On Point team saying, right, this is what we're going to achieve in February because these are the lists we've built up.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It is mad. The February list is it seems to get bigger every year. Oh, mine certainly has this year because of the new practice. Clive Hand, QuickBooks accountant, says, good morning, chaps. Good morning to you, Clive. Hope you're doing well. Mahul says, good morning, everyone from wet. Is that west or west? Wet London. Hope everyone had a great wet weekend. Yes, hope you had a good weekend too. Susanna Whelan says, good morning to you. Stephanie Marshall says, good morning all, with a 0 blue heart, but we'll skip over that one. Susanna C. Bookkeeping. Sue Bookkeeping says, good morning to you, with a smiley face. Paul Ingram says, good morning from ABS. Good morning. Stephanie Marshall then goes on to say, I was still signing new clients mid-January. Yep, I think we all were, weren't we? Yeah. And some of those
had 3 new clients, all 3, like 2 are husband and wife, and then there was another one. All 3 had got 5 years worth of tax returns to file because they hadn't done it in 5 years.
Ouch! But they become like
was the sound that I made. But okay.
Ouch is a sound I'm still making. But I'll always go, like, this year we signed a record number of clients in January. Great, wonderful. But actually, more importantly, I think back to previous Januaries. Some of those clients I've got are amazing clients that we have now, right? Like, they are so good at what they do. Paul Whitehouse says we have a neighboring accountant that doesn't do SEL, so sole traders at all. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, that helps you, right? Like, is that a referral system you got there, Paul? that's I think we'll go. Leander Dado says, good morning to you, hope you are doing well. Chris White says, after this year, we'll never take on last minute Larrys again, was the worst of my client list. Okay, fair enough. So there's always the downside to that as well, isn't there? We have to understand our clients are human, as are we, exactly, and treat them as individuals. We all run different businesses and run as we want. And sometimes clients don't know any different, right? They don't know anything other than leaving it to the last minute. And sometimes that's part of our way of teaching them and helping them and getting them to be better if they want to. But others, they never will change, and that's exactly how it is. C3 Pro is a nice build, and Mahul says wet. Thank you very much, Mahul. All I can see is the page moving.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I had a thought to amend part of the script for future episodes, so I've just done it.
That's good. Okay, everyone. I mean, I'm not as good at the segues as Jan, but we'll give this a go. Let's talk. I mean, I suppose we've already spoke about it, but let's talk about tax return season being over. Like, is it something that we can look any better on for next year? The only thing I think could do better, and I was thinking about this, is like, as I always do, is like, well, what can we do better and what everything else? And a lot of the stuff you've already mentioned there is incentivizing clients and going through from there and everything else. But is it time with Making Tax Digital and HMRC finally like modernizing their systems? Is it time to put pressure on them to do more for us? Because wouldn't it be nice if when we file that tax return and we get that submission status and everything's happy, wouldn't it be nice to have a link there and then that we can pass to our client to make the payment? Like, I don't know about you, but most of my administration burden is, okay, here's all of this email of exactly how to, here's where to go, here's everything else. What's the first question that's always going to come back from a client? They'll ignore everything you've wrote on that pro forma, and they go, "How do I make payment again?" Or I had one particular client who we sent their tax return back in July. We reminded, and they didn't sign until 5:30ish on the Friday, right? And then they, in the mass panic, when they finally signed it, went into their portal, and lo and behold, their portal wasn't updated to make the payment, right? So they hadn't put two and two together that, yeah, we'll file it. Don't worry, you've signed it. We're going to file it. It's going to be there. But the chances of HMRC portal updating before the deadline is slim to nil at this point in time.
Yep.
So, and you can kind of, because if you're used to logging into your portal, having a number there, clicking a button, and it then helps you make the payment, and that's how you've always done it, then I can kind of see the clients, who get really, really upset about the fact that that number's not appearing there. It's almost like because it's a big number, right? But some of them have got to pay. So there's that element, isn't there? That what if I pay this to the wrong place? What if I put the wrong digit in? Or there's always that in the back of the mind, isn't it? But when it's a link and that link takes them there and everything else, and it's all legitimate and everything else, it makes them feel better. And when you say, well, unfortunately, you've signed it so late, I don't think it's going to be there on time for you to make payment. Here's a way to pay it manually. It always gives you that, or at least clients feel a little bit uneasy about it, don't they? If that's not how they're used to doing it. So, is there a world where HMRC can help us? Could they just surely the bits are all in place now that they could?
I think it requires a huge infrastructure change for them to get that that information process quick enough, because
Do you reckon?
like we always put on our emails. So when the client signed it, we then send another email using a status email engager that goes, thanks for signing it. We've now filed it. Please note it will take 48 to 72 hours to appear in your portal.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. So, yeah, I don't know if they've got the infrastructure that's able to give you the link because the moment you send that link, the client's going to want to click on it and pay. They're not going to go, I've been sent a link, I've got to wait a couple of days. So, yeah.
Could they make it a URL? Like, I've been really into my magic URLs at the moment. In the QuickBooks world, it's very much a case of if you know your client number and you know your firm number, then you can replace those bits, and then you can basically send you to anywhere in QuickBooks. And it's really good at making things more efficient, and doing a task and telling your team to click on this task, it'll take them to that client, to that place, to go there. That sort of world where if you really get to understand the URLs, you can start making wonderful things. Could they give us a magic URL where the software replaces the UTR number, they replace the number, and it just pops up with that thing? Is there a world where we can do that bit of
anything's possible with developers, as I keep getting told. It's just how long it will take and whether it's worthwhile doing is a different matter.
But surely HMRC need to start working with us a little bit, right? Like giving us something else to add value. There's this whole thing about value add and everything else. Well, if we could be involved in that, helping our client make the payment, and taking away that barrier of entry, surely there's a benefit to everyone in that one, because that client's attached themselves to an accountant or bookkeeper, so they've already got that. They're already putting that trust in. They've got that extra step there. They should be filed on time. There should be a level of accuracy, all that sort of stuff. There's tick, 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 right? There's that benefit that comes with that. Is there not a time now where we'll also give us that power to help our clients also make the payments, and go through from there? I just feel like this is the chance. And the other bit that, for our clients who are struggling to make the payment, I don't know about you, but I find it really frustrating that we have to pass over to the to the client if they need to make, payment arrangements and stuff like that, right? That's not a service we can effectively
Yeah.
offer because there's so much red tape and jumping around, but all this and the other, right? Like for us to offer that service is pretty much impossible other than we're next to them on the phone and they pass it over to
Yeah.
us and then we can help them, right? Which in real terms, that's really, really different. And these are for clients who are obviously struggling. So we can't, oh yeah, we can do that for you, but here's this massive premium fee that we're going to charge you to get our
Yeah.
white gloves on and start doing a tailored product for you, right? Is there not a way where we could help, like, be involved in that whole process of like trying to get to there? And I don't know. I just feel like as accountants book it's that payment side that seems to be the tricky step for us to deliver, that service that clients will actually go, you know what, there is a real value for having our accountant bookkeeper involved.
My gut instinct is something like Apron should be able to help us with this.
Okay.
But it won't be as simple as everyone like thinks, oh, well, just because in theory, you just go, oh, well, I'll set up a payment in Apron and I'll send that to the client to authorize, and that does it all. And we know the reference is right. We know the account bank details are right, and they don't even have to worry about the government gateway being updated. But the problem with that is AML.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Apron has to carry out ID checks. And because there's no limited company involved, it's potentially a less simple process of getting the client set up with an account on Apron than it would be a limited company. So I don't know how slick Apron and their fellow payment providers can make that process of adding a new person last minute, for example, so that we can send a nice payment link over.
Yeah.
So the principle's there, but I think the FCA regulations and AML regulations will probably take out the wins.
Yeah.
From that option.
But again, though, if it was just a case of HMRC just having a magic URL, we replace the UTR number or the software.
Yeah, but the problem is that still requires HMRC to have processed the self-assessment and update the totals.
Oh, no. So you replace the UTR number, then you replace the amount. Like those two figures and then they get basically, John D, because it references back to the UTR, back to the person. Here's the amount that you're going to pay. Click here to pay, and at least it's taken away that barrier of entry. Of them.
That's on the assumption that our figure's right. That's on the assumption we've not missed a P60 or not been told about a job, or
100%.
They haven't got overdue payments from other periods in there. So I don't think HMRC will like that, because HMRC would see their website updating with that amount as almost going, this is what's owed. And then they'd get annoyed when the client gets annoyed when they get a letter from HMRC saying, no, you still owe this as well.
Yeah, 100%. So there's an accuracy thing there. But at least in theory, HMRC would be able to link it to that. Like, you've just submitted the self-assessment. Here's the payment related to it. That's why the payment might be wrong or whatever, but at least, it's been made, and that whatever that balance is has been paid off. And, we're further down the line than at the moment clients. So they, what it's like. You put any barrier of entry up for them, any like friction to them. Oh, I wasn't able to do that, or I was, you know what I mean? Like, we just need to eradicate that. The details for the refund that now have to be put in should be a two-way link also to deduct payments automatically. Yeah. Why it's not all connected is one. Why we have to go through the rigmarole. I mean, we've even got to the point now where we wait for the return to be submitted and agreed, and it's on the portal, and that's when we apply for the refund on behalf of the client. So it's all done and dusted. But yeah, it just becomes an extra step, doesn't it? Had to prove to some clients that I actually filed because it wasn't shown on their tax account. It's a recurring problem we had this year as well, but it was, like we said, it's because it took so long to go through and push through and everything else. Is MTD going to make that better for those MTD clients? Is that surely that the right infrastructure that should be instant going forward? You would have thought, but I suppose they've still got to do their checks and things, haven't they? Not.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be any quicker.
No. Is that not something that software could put in place, Stephanie? Yeah, exactly. But I think Jan's right about the idea that there's still the accuracy issues, and that's probably why you want to wait for that proper figure to be there. But I don't know, just a payment link. Like, I think that would just go down so well. And imagine the good that Engager and that lot could do with that by creating that email that goes through it. You know,
Oh, sorry.
sign it
So you
here.
want a payment link and you want it on the API so that we can pull it. Oof, that's a 5-year project. HMRC don't move that quick.
If it's a magic link and we're in control of that, like we change the UTL, we change the number, I feel like there's something there. Imagine you could send that signing page to them, and at the same time, there's an option there. Oh, and here you go. Hit. Thanks for signing. Make the payment here. Boom. Like it could be as simple as that. Lisa says, morning, sorry, we're a little bit late. No problem, Lisa. Welcome aboard. Paul Whitehouse also says, just being able to manage my team and clients more efficiently would be nice from HMRC. Not assigning clients one by one when I add a new team member. Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely transparent. We're still using the global code where we go in and that's the code that everyone uses and everyone goes through from there and everything like that. Those days are going to be gone because of two-factor authentication, but that's because I don't have the time to do all that, right? Like there is no way of doing it until they bring in an API that a third-party solution could do that bit for me. I'm never going to be able to like move away from that. Leander says also, we did use Apron to make a payment for a client. Okay, to allow them to pay by credit card. I do love that, actually. I love that as one of the big selling points of Apron, isn't it? Like, why not get your Amex points?
I'm flying business class because I pay my tax bill using Amex.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Need at least 48 hours for that to come along. Yep. And even just sorry, different.
Maybe Apron is a solution if you've got time in which to get them all set up on. Maybe that is an option.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? And then they're there ready to go. Maybe we just need, I mean, if we've been trying to find a solution to get someone like Apron into Engager, you know, maybe that's the way in where they can then pull out the numbers and help us make that link. You know, I'm just saying I've wanted this relationship for a long time, you know what I mean? So and you guys are just sat there twiddling your thumbs, so you know.
We definitely haven't got a huge batch of releases coming out this week or next.
Exactly. You got plenty of time just to have a little bit of play with Apron. You know what I mean? Paul White says, even just a status update saying we've received your return, your payment will be updated in a few days. That's a good point, actually. Why do we have to wait for the whole checks and everything else? They could just say, yeah, thanks for your return. Like that in this day and age should be instant, right? That should be just an instant little gratification. And I wouldn't have client XYZ. I won't obviously mention the client's name. 8:30 p.m. on a Friday night, freaking out, ringing me 5 times. They didn't even give me my number. Like, so where they got my number from, I don't know. Ringing me in and then emailing in and then ringing the phone number, like panicking because in their world, it's not been submitted. We've let them down. You know, it could make it easier, right? And it make it easier for us as well to check that it's done. I mean, if I could have a list of things that would make it even easier is, why don't they then have an API to tell our practice management solution that it's received so we can update it like we do in Company's House, right? Like,
just use Tax Filer. Don't use Tax Filer. Use Tax Calc. Use Tax Calc. As of it's either this week or next week it's releasing. I've been testing it all January to make sure it's completely robust. But if Tax Calc doesn't have a submission receipt for a tax return, it won't let Engager close down a self-assessment job anymore. If you turn that on, obviously. Yeah. So we are coming up with workarounds to deal with HMRC's inadequacies.
Exactly. But why? I mean, they're clearly not going to build it on the old platform, right? But surely the MTD platform should have that as a standard. Like, we've said this from day one. Like, and the quarterly submissions. Why are they not providing us an API to say, yep, your quarterly submission's been done, or what's going to happen come June, isn't it? That the first, no, it'll be July, won't it? The first payment's going to be, the first one's going to, we're going to have clients who are going to file it themselves. What, we've got to go and check manually that they have filed it, or do we just assume that they filed? Like, yeah, whatever. Right. Moving swiftly on. Speaking of governments being a bit of a yo-yo and not committing to things like API updates for HMRC and MTD, Company House has gone and but a big question mark on how they're going to approach this whole extra bit of information going forward. And this is good for everyone, right? They've put on hiatus for the moment, and I think hiatus is the right word, right? Because they haven't given us an update of a date, or did I miss the date idea?
So
I don't think they have.
they have scrapped. So it was meant to be April 26th, then it got delayed to April 27. They've
Yeah,
scrapped that, and
but they
what they
haven't
have
given us a
said is
new date, have they?
what they have said is that it's still in consultation, and they have
Okay.
committed to a minimum of 21 months notice before it's put into action.
Okay, that makes sense. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the idea that they wanted to bring in entities will be required to file a copy of their balance sheet and profit and loss account, which we've always said was madness. And no direct support would be needed, and small companies would have to file a copy of the balance sheet, director's report, auditor's report unless exempt, and crucially, the profit and loss account to the registrar. So the idea would be that every single client that you'd have a limited company for, you'd have to file not only their abbreviated accounts that there's going there, but the abbreviated plus a P&L account. So you're giving away wages, turnover, salary, all the sensitive information would be available to be uploaded.
The irony is, the time that announcement got made, I was stood in a room of 50 people who were being taught how to buy businesses, and I was stood up there teaching them how to do it and what to look for in accounts and stuff for financial due diligence, and red flags, like at a very high level before they start spending money on accountants and stuff and lawyers. And it came in, it's like, oh well, it was about to get easier for you guys because it was all going to be public information. Now it's not. So for that room of people, they really wanted the change.
But there is benefits to this, right? Like better way of being able to make decisions on finance, for example, right? Like,
yeah,
it wouldn't be any easier than having a look at actual statutory accounts that are there for everyone to see. Making due diligence about if you're going to do business with someone, you could have a look at their P&L, and there is
workload-wise, for the likes of those of us that use softwares, this was going to be no different because all we do is press file, and the software would have dealt with it all. Like, yes, there's a load of work for the software providers to now do, or would have been to do, but for the accountants and bookkeepers that aren't using Companies House, I mean, you can't use web filing tools anymore going forwards, can you? So, if you're using software, this would have been no extra workload for us, but it has concerns about data security and stuff around for the business owner.
100%. Yeah, it was, putting your dirty laundry on the thing, wasn't it? It was that sort of washing line for philosophy, wasn't it? What I found really interesting was there was a 50-50 split in the accounting community. Huh? Who are they speaking to? I mean, again, there is benefits to this. I completely see the benefits, but I couldn't tell you 10% of people who were actually pro this change, right? Like,
and the irony is the people that I know that were pro to this change because they're looking to grow through acquisitions.
Oh yeah.
We're then like, right, but how do I prevent my own accounts from being seen publicly? So even they were like, I can see a benefit, but it's small compared to all my concerns for everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's that idea that, do you really want your whole team to know how much salary you took and what your dividends was and all that sort of stuff? I mean, most of us are, I imagine, kind of pretty open about the round sum figures or anything else. Like, I don't think there'd be a shock or at least anything else, but it still wouldn't sit right for even your own.
The irony is, if we listed every single person in our team and their salaries, we'd get done for a breach of GDPR.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But it's all right to put directors and like they're different, they're exempt.
Yeah.
And then I think it's those concerns which is what's caused the delay and freezing it with 21 months notice of when it will come in. Like, it won't be in this side of this current parliament, will it? With 21 months notice now.
No, I mean, based on their rollout of the digital ID checks and everything else, 21 months wouldn't be enough anyway. So they would have completely messed that one up. So like, let's definitely not push that any forward. Um, I'm just frustrated by it. I think that more than anything else, and
It's,
in as always,
instead of
it's
making a clear decision of yes or no, again, it's left hanging over our heads. It's another pain point conversation that clients want to have with us, and we need to inform them. Look, it hasn't gone away, but it is delayed until probably 2029, if not later now.
Yeah.
Like, we would just like some certainty, wouldn't we? We'd just like them to go, yeah, we scrapped it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
corporation tax MTD, they got rid of some of the ambiguity around that by saying it's not going to be MTD, but we are going to modernize it. So we've still got a concern about, right, what does modernization mean? But at least we know, in theory, it's not going to be quarterly anymore, if that's what they mean, but we don't know what modernization means. So they just need to start being a bit more yes, no, not sit on the fence, maybe type thing.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't sit right, does it, at the moment, where we're just having this whole idea that we're pushing it back, and 21 months, we're going to let you know that it's coming into place, and etc. It just, and I genuinely believe there needs to be a modernization of it. I think that's a good thing, like having this data available for people to make informed decisions. But at the moment, just it doesn't sit right. Doesn't sit right at all. So that was it. That was our company's house yet again going and doing a bit of a U-turn. HMRC's been interested a bit of a U-turn as well, haven't they? They've decided AI potentially a good thing.
Yeah. Following on from last week's report from all the governing bodies that said AI is absolutely fine for us all to use, but ultimately the person responsible is the person that's doing the work. So, so same as having a junior team member, the person responsible for the firm has still got to. There's got to be a sign off at some point of the work that they've done. HMRC have come along with the same guidelines, shockingly. So HMRC are happy for us all to use AI, but the person that's doing it needs to, or using it, or signing off on the work that's been done by that team member and the AI use, needs to be in a position that they understand how the outcomes have been generated, and that whether they are accurate or not. Which, as I say, it's no different to having a team member where you double check their maths on a self-assessment. It is what it is. So yeah, I'm pleased that they've not turned around and gone, "Oh, you can't use AI in tax cases and stuff." It's like, like I said last week, that's like school saying, "Oh, you can't use a calculator." So, well, bloody can in the real world. So teach me how to use the calculator properly, so I know that that's coming up with the right answers, rather than telling me I've got to do it in my head and I still get the wrong answer.
Exactly.
I'm pleased again that this is a really positive direction, that HMRC and governing bodies are all on the same page of it's an okay thing to use. You just need to be responsible for its outcomes and understand the risk is, if it's wrong, you are in trouble.
Yeah. I think the difference of this one, though, is that when you look at your professional bodies, they can choose to use AI or they can't choose to use it, right? Like, it's up to them. They're either, as in for their own benefits, right? Like in practice, in their own, profession. Hey, there's no denial, or there's not. I would not be able to believe that HMRC haven't already started using AI for
of course they have.
looking at the vast amount of data, right? Like, now they have this whole idea that they can connect to eBay and Amazon, and eBay and Amazon are going to feed them data, and Uber and all that. Like, they've got all these extra connections now, haven't they, and everything else.
Yep.
You're not telling me there's someone manually like assessing that and putting that in. It's going to be AI driven in terms of looking for peaks and troughs and analytics and everything else, and they're going to be using AI now to cross-check things and to bring stuff in. They're going to be using it to make it more efficient, and hopefully, in theory, find, in their case, or for their benefits, to find missing tax holes and everything else. Like, that's where AI is going to be used for HMRC purposes, surely, and then they'll be using it for all sorts of other things going forward, right? So for them, it'd almost be hypocritical if they didn't have some sort of guidance on it and some sort of fair use policy, or how they've gone about it now, where they've kind of set out their stall of what they're happy for, what they're not. Well, they had to, because clearly, surely is the phrase I should be using. Surely they're using AI anyway, right? So they've already gone through and kind of figured it all out. You'd have hoped.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be very hypocritical of them to say, no, accountants and bookkeepers, you can't use AI, when it won't stop the business owners. And then they're sat there using it themselves as well. It's like, well, hang on a minute, you can't have it all your way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, positive, as we said, with the professions getting involved, and I think this is even more of a an opportunity to kind of bring it in and everything else. And it's good for the UK, isn't it? Because the government's trying to push us as this AI powerhouse, and
Well, if you
I
look at the
forget what
latest reports, the UK has lost more jobs to AI than any other country in the UK in the world. So already, but I'd question that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, take that with a pinch of salt, don't you? I mean, I forget what they're trying, what that band of area is going to be, but they're trying to create their own Silicon Valley, aren't they, in the UK?
Yeah.
That's AI power driven and everything else. So we've got to have our tax authority has to be sat there, being pro AI, but at least have a tolerance to AI. I think is the best phrase to use, isn't it? Like, if we didn't, we're almost like stumping the growth of everything that's there. And there is a lot of benefits that it could bring to the table, that we could have a much more easier way to deliver our services to clients if we can get tools and stuff that can, now that they've got the chance to properly breathe and properly go in there, we can actually have that. And again, like you've always said, and we've always said, like, if then we've got a professional like ourselves checking the numbers and checking the stats and everything else, and having confidence in it, then that's only going to give us an opportunity to do and help more clients and push more. Like, it's going to be a net positive to everyone, right?
Definitely. Yeah. No, I think it's a very positive move from HMRC. So yeah, it'd be more interesting now that people like that have given the okay. It'll be interesting to see what software developers now come up with next.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Because surely that lights them up as an opportunity to go for it. I'm stalling a little bit on this one because I'm trying to find the bit of the news. Don't you hate it on LinkedIn where because one little, like, an anniversary with Bofix, 10-year anniversary, and that's it now. All the actual conversation I'm trying to bring it come through. But speaking of positive news and everything that's going through, HSBC have teamed up with our good friends over at Sage, and they are basically bringing in a making tax digital product very similar to, I mean, it doesn't say this in this post here, but we can assume it's very similar to the Tide and Monzo relationship, right? And it's going to go down from there. As part of HSBC UK's big support for small businesses, the bank is launching a new tool to help business owners and sole traders get ahead of the government's making tax digital for income tax changes coming in April. Powered by Sage embedded technology, HSBC My Business Finances will allow eligible customers to manage accounting and submit tax returns digital directly from their HSBC UK business bank account, reducing the complexity many small business owners face as MTV approaches. And it carries on and talk about why the partnership's so good and everything else that goes with it. But in effect, this is the same technology we've seen in Tide, same technology we've seen in Monzo, but it's HSBC powered, right? We've already mentioned how beneficial this is, but it's even more beneficial when you look at the massive beast that is HSBC. This is a really positive, I think, for the consumers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think, like we were saying off air, that Sage have sat back, looked at the free agent model, and gone, "Christ, that's genius!" And now they've been working to get into as many banks as they can. So Tide and Monzo make complete sense to me. I can believe there's a huge number of sole traders there. How many sole traders bank with HSBC? I don't know. It's a big organization. It's quite expensive as a bank provider. I'm sure it's got hundreds of thousands, millions of sole traders in there, fine. But I'd have thought more were using like the Monzo accounts and the Tides of the world. But yeah, I mean, it's fantastic news for Sage. And is it fantastic news for us? My fear is we're starting so we got an inquiry just last week about, and I don't think I need an accountant because of MTD. I feel I ought to get it checked, blah, blah, blah. Landlord person. So they've committed to using Hammock, and they've made that choice before they came to us. We've then quoted them for the MTD side of checking and filing, and they've gone, how much? No, it's all right, I'll do it myself. And I do think now that more and more people are going to have access to things like Sage and Free Agent through their banks for free, I do think I think it dampens that surge that governing bodies have been telling us, we've got so much work coming our way, we need to recruit X amount of bookkeepers and accountants, blah. I'm not convinced we're going to see this surge that everyone's hoping we're going to see or talking about we're going to see. I think we're going to see a surge from firms that are turning around saying, we're not supporting this, or we're closing down. Go find someone else. I don't know how much of a surge from the unsupported segment of sole traders we're actually going to see on this, because softwares are out there. There's no consequences for filing wrong numbers at this point in time. I'm not convinced.
Yeah, for me though, I just feel like there's a reason
software is going to do all right out of it, because HSBC are going to pay Sage, RBS are paying Free Agent, Monzo's paying Sage, Tide's paying Sage for this, even though they're offering it potentially for free or as part of their current charges. Sage are going to get a cut of money for this. So yeah, softwares are going to do well.
I think to clarify though, we don't know the prices, right? Because I know Monzo charge something per month. I can't remember what it is, but they it's a particular tier. I mean, Monzo's weird anyway, right? Monzo is I think you charge to even connect QuickBooks or Xero or your FMS solution to it, right? Like, so they've got a very strange monetization system which didn't never set perfectly well with me, but I think obviously Mondo's made that work. And I don't know what the Tide price is, and we don't know what HSBC. So it may be free, but I've got a feeling this is one of those add-on services, right? And there'll be a
price. But even if it is, it will not be what we would need to charge.
Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah.
If we wanted to charge, if we were going to provide the software, our time to check things, etc., what Monzo, Tide, RBS, HSBC, and stuff charge for the bank account in which you get this free at this tier.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that. It's like that tier is not going to be any higher than what, 15, 20 quid a month. If that, like, it's probably going to be more like 8 to 12 quid a month. We couldn't give the software license for that.
Oh, exactly. 100%.
Never mind our time to enter data. Like, it's just to not even if we don't look at bookkeeping. If we're just going, data's there, press file. We can't do it for that price.
Yeah, and I did a video at the weekend that I think comes out on Tuesday, where I was attacking. I think it was the Daily Telegraph. I think it was one of those publications. Anyway, they jumped on this bandwagon of this is your last time that your tax return's gonna be this simple. From here on in, it's going to be. I mean, their term was hellish, and the idea was that they were bringing to the forefront was that every tax return used to be free. Now it's going to be minimum £300 a year to file. It's like, where did the £300 number come from? Because I couldn't make heads or tail of it, right? Like, even if they averaged it, if you took into an accountant, I just nowhere in my I couldn't figure out anywhere where they got this number from. So, if it is £12, £8, whatever that number is going to be, far less than that £300 that seems to be going around the circles now of this is the cost of filing a tax return going forward. So yeah, definitely it's going to be a good way, a reasonable way of being able to kind of get those numbers out there and get people on board. But I think to your point about how this influx of new work is going to come in, I still don't see how, why, or where, because surely those people would have wanted to have an accountant or bookkeeper attached to them before anyway. Like, this doesn't change that for them, does it? Like, yeah, it's a little bit more complicated. They've got to do more admin because they've got to file their tax return on a quarterly basis, even though we all know it's not a tax return. But that's kind of what's been scaremongered to them by, the Daily Mail or whatever it was that was this article that I was reading. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there's definitely going to be an opportunity for software, like you said, and I just hope more and more do this whole route of going to attach to your bank account. I think overall that seems like the best way, and your Starlings of the world and all these other challenger banks forcing you to go in there and put categories against transactions. I don't know if you've seen them in the banks you're using, right? So they're putting that data, and then that data should go into a void. At least with this relationship here, that data's not going to a void. That data can be extracted, and we can put that data wherever we want. We can either continue to use the Sage ecosystem, and we can file it directly through Sage, and they've even got that cool Copilot, MTD functionality as well now, haven't they? They've got all of that can go into it. So Sage are offering a really nice solution that not only is really, really client friendly because it's attached to your bank account, less work for the client to do, but also from an accountant's point of view, you've got that whole automation that they could bring into play, and that they've got all of that. So they really are building a really, really, really nice MTD focused product, and hats off to them because they've actually built it pretty much from the ground up, haven't they? They've gone, MTD is going to be a problem. Here's a solution for it. There we are. Like, Xero definitely haven't done that. You've got to give credit where credit's due for actually going out there and building an actual product from start to finish. And I think that should make it easier for us to take on those sort of clients if they're already got connected to them and they just want us to do checks and everything else. Is that going to be a much easier opportunity for us when it's already in a nice ecosystem that from the client's point of view, that they can work with? Like, they're already making payments on bank accounts, they're already doing all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're already kind of using most of the functionality. That it's not a big ask for them to also learn to do a little bit more, like send maybe some information in or whatever we've got to do cross and checks and everything else. I'm hopeful that that's gonna be there. My only thing, I keep meaning to sign up to Mondo, or I might even do HSBC now and go through that route, but I want to see that end-to-end solution. Like, is it going to be a case that finally we can get our bank statements through? Like, can we extract that level of information that goes through from there? That's what I'd love to be able to kind of see and go down there, because I think it's really interesting, and I love how Free Agent and Metal and Free Agent NatWest, their connections are amazing, right? And that's like a really, really solid thing, but it's still not perfect. There's still a few things that we still have to jump in at and kind of get involved in, and ultimately takes up time and therefore adds cost and complexity to the client's end. Hopefully these sort of relationships, we can figure them out, and then going forward, if we're taking on a client who's already part of this ecosystem and bring them from there, that should be a nice, easy kind of pick up and deliver a service, as opposed to at the moment, there's a lot of uncertainty, isn't there, when it comes to take on a client, and that's why fees are what they are, because we're almost rolling the dice of can we achieve it based on XYZ. But if we actually have a client that they're already using this software, we can already have confidence in it, and it's there's a known quantity there. I think that's going to make delivering these services a lot easier to our clients.
Yeah, definitely. Paul says it is a pricing issue in the comments. If you're quoting £15 a month to press a button once a quarter, then they're going to question using you. Upselling what you're doing is far more important in a conversation. It's like, yeah, but Paul, we did upsell. Like, we sat down, we went through with them, like, it's this much a month for each quarterly filing. This is what we're doing. We're checking for all this thing to make sure, you've just come and asked me to check your books. I can't do that for free, or I can't do that for less than a certain amount a month. to check that all your transactions are valid transactions before we submit them. It's not it's like a VAT return. Like,
yeah,
it's the same principle as that.
but
I mean,
I think with
we
that
already
client,
knew we'd lost this battle before we even quoted, because their opening message to us was, "I don't think I need an accountant."
Yeah, exactly.
So
the
mentality was already set.
Yeah.
I mean, we almost debated not actually responding or accepting the quoting meeting, because that mentality is like, well, we don't need you as a client if you don't think you need us, type thing.
Yeah, 100%.
So
it's always going to come up, isn't it? It's always going to be a pricing issue at that point. Yeah.
But we entertained the conversation just to see where it went, and it went exactly where I knew it would. So,
Chris White said, I did a chat on this for a business breakfast group last week, and do you need an accountant? Possibly no, but do you have the expertise to know what you are looking at without one? Exactly what you just said there, right?
Yep, exactly.
And Clive says, Monzo has landed in an island. Landed with or without Sage? Be interesting to know, won't it?
It's nice to see the banks moving over there, though.
Yeah.
Modernize things for them, so that's good news.
100%. Yeah, I mean, on me, right? Because I've not had time to play with it, but I do desperately want to have a kind of a play around with these integrations. Are they exactly the same? If you go to Monzo, Tide, and HSBC, do you get exactly the same, experience from one to another? Is there kind of differences between the thing? I think there's definitely a chance to have a look at that, right? And I think as an accountant and bookkeepers, we need to have an awareness of that, and I think we need to know what it does, what it doesn't, because we're going to be involved with those more and more, I think, going forward. Because it's interesting that people, accountant bookkeepers I speak to, sometimes they're surprised about the deep integration that Metal and Free Agent have, right? And I think we need to be aware of that, because that there's no point in you taking on a client who's using that Metal and Free Agent integration and trying to force them onto another piece of software. It just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic integration they've got. So yeah, no, it makes complete sense to use it if it's there.
Cool. Right. Well, we'll leave the next story until next week, because it's not going anywhere, is it? So we can have that from there. Johann, what you got planned for the week, etc., etc.? How, what's going on in your world?
New year, new start, all that good stuff. So yeah, no, February is peak time for Engager. We're always busy in February when everyone's fed up with their old systems over January and they want to improve things. And pretty much the same in my firm. Like, right, this is our chance to review what we've done, revamp things, update things, like even tweaking email templates and stuff ready for the year ahead. So yeah, we're going to do a review, work out what were we going back for and asking for more information on, like why were we delayed in getting some information that actually we held ourselves. We need to store it in more central places, stuff like that. So yeah, full review of the self-assessment process and service over the next week with tweaks and improvements, ready for 6th of April to get started again, basically.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah. How about yourself? What have you got going on?
Get back to vendors. The amount of vendors that I said, no, not a chance I can talk to you until January is over and done with. And it kind of, for vendors, February is their January, isn't it? I mean, you must know yourself, right? Like you've already mentioned, right? But it is that time where we go, right, okay, what were those pain points? What were those frustrations? What were going through from there? So yeah, that's going to be my week ahead, is going through that. And also getting back to a lot of people who you've pushed off until, and you've said to them, look, February is the time to get your head down and get it done. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. That is for sure. Clive says without for now, so there's no Sage integration in the Monzo over there. That's an interesting one, isn't it? That they didn't launch day date with it. Yeah, for now. I mean, it's a good thing to add later down the line, isn't it? But I suppose, yeah. I bet, actually thinking about it, is there an MTD need over there? Maybe that's like the reason that they've not kind of pushed, because this is very much aimed at that MTD market, isn't it? That's what this whole partnership's all about, and go through from there. So yeah, and it'll also be interesting to see who else they have up their pipeline. Like, do they just stop at these three, or is there more to come? And is there any chance that any of the others can jump in on this bandwagon? I would suspect not at this point. I can't really see any others jumping in at this point. I think, we'll go through from there. But yeah, cool. And there we have it. Mahul says, thank you very much for your insights today. No, thank you, Mahul, for listening. And that is it. That is the end of today's exciting episode of Ask the Accountant. We'll be back the same time, same place next week for another exciting one. We'll see you then. In the meantime, it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Bye all. See you next week. Bye.